Hi, good morning, friends. This is Palani here again. So, the topic for today is AI strategy for enterprise applications. If you look at any enterprise executive today, and if you think about what is top of mind for them, it is all about what is the AI strategy for my product, right? In the past few months, the AI leaders like Microsoft and Google have been demonstrating how they can deeply embed AI into all your enterprise applications, right? Microsoft has been doing it with copilots, where they have announced copilots for their Office 365 applications, their Azure cloud services, and all of it, right? And Google has been doing something similar, calling it the agents, right? And they have talked about how multiple agents are available, deeply integrated within their enterprise product experiences. So now what we'll do today is we will break down or provide a framework for how to embed AI into your enterprise applications. And we will take a case study of Atlassian, right? So Atlassian this week in their team conference announced a slew of AI capabilities embedded into their products, right? So we will talk about how the strategy has been executed in Atlassian's case. All right. So when we talk about what are the different phases in terms of AI enabling your application, right? The most important aspect of any AI strategy is how do I unify all my data assets across the enterprise, right? Because end of the day, if you take any AI application, the large language model or the AI aspect of it is just 10%, right? 90% of the actual execution is going to happen around how do I unify my data and build a common knowledge graph across the enterprise, right? So that's the first aspect to consider. Once you have these extensive knowledge graphs, then it's all about identifying use cases where I can seamlessly embed AI capabilities within the product workflows, right? And this could be leveraging the AI's capabilities like content creation, content summarization, or knowledge search. But the key is to make sure it's just intuitive within your product workflow. And we'll talk about how Atlassian has done a great job at it, right? So once you have these experiences built in, the next thing is, okay, what actions can I derive based on my AI capabilities, right? And that's where automation comes into play, where you can have integrations with your enterprise applications to drive actions, right? So that's kind of the next step. And the AI agent is kind of how you package all of this together, right? If you have looked at the AI agents, uh, you know, this is where you're able to kind of have like specialized co-workers in your organization who are just like any who are another virtual employee who is doing a very specific task, right? And that involves all the three bullets that we've talked about before. Okay, so let's I think this is great from a framework standpoint. Now let's look at how Atlassian has done a great job of executing on their AI strategy. So before we get into that, a little bit about Atlassian. I'm sure all of you know Atlassian. It's the Jira, the company that builds the Jira product. But I was very impressed to see the suite of products that they have. Right, it's not just for developers. They have built productivity applications that can be used by all teams in an enterprise, right? Be it developers, marketing teams, business teams, HR function, legal function, you name the team, Atlassian has some form of productivity application that is targeted towards that users. And you can see the list of products they have, right? It's Jira, Jira Service Desk, they own Bitbucket, Confluence, I think Trello, and recently they've acquired Loom also. So they're pretty strong in the productivity space. And given how the key value prop of AI is around improving productivity of your employees within the organization, I think it fits very well with Atlassian's suite of products. So I think from a strategy standpoint, the first step that we said is building that knowledge graph, right? and Atlassian is calling it Teamwork Graph, and they have built this into their cloud platform, right? So this is the platform layer that powers all their different applications. So they made this Teamwork Graph a core component of their platform, right? And what they've done here is they have kind of taken all the data assets across their different products, right? Be it Jira Software or Service Manager or whatnot, and try to build a unified object graph of all the entities that exist within their products, right? And the other thing is people graph. This is interesting because, like I said, Atlassian products are used by all groups of users within the enterprise, right? So they've been able to build that organizational people graph and map it to objects to say what ownership or what actions people can perform, right? And of course, AI models is also part of their platform because these are what powers the experiences, right? But you will see that it's just one piece of the puzzle, right? The core component here is around building those object graphs, people graphs, and having that semantic index layer. They have in fact gone one step further in not just indexing the data from their own Atlassian products, but they are also trying to ingest and index data across all enterprise slash platforms, right? So if you see the picture here, it's not very clear, but they talk about Google Drive, Figma, SharePoint, literally wherever the enterprise data is residing, they are looking to consolidate all that data into their common knowledge graph, right? That's a very interesting move where they're looking to become that focal point of all enterprise data, right? And not just stopping at that, they also have this connector framework. If you have your own custom application, you could use this connector framework to ingest your own data into the Atlassian knowledge graph. Excellent. So now that you have this solid knowledge graph foundation, now how do I, build AI experiences into my products, right? One great example that was showcased was around the Confluence product, right? Confluence is their knowledge-based product, and within Confluence, you have certain templates for teams to brainstorm and ideate, right? So with any brainstorming and ideation session, the key challenge is the blank slate problem, right? Is how do I get those first set of ideas to kind of trigger those conversations with the team, right? And as we know, LLMs are great in content generation, right? So what Atlassian has done is they have used all the data that they have from their Jira products about, for instance, if the team is brainstorming about how do I identify the top customer problems that I need to solve, now Atlassian Jira has all the details about the customer problems, right? So it's able to use that data to provide the first set of ideas for you to start thinking along, and then the team start brainstorming, come up with a whole bunch of ideas, right? Now you have this great, whole bunch of stickies about all the different ideas that you brainstorm. Now, typically what happens is someone is going to take the job of saying, okay, in the next couple of days, let me go ahead and summarize all of this, have it into different categories, and then send out that details, right? Now with AI, it's just a click of a button, right? So Atlassian has built the summarization capability where it can automatically summarize all the brainstorming ideas and come up with the set of categories, and then you can have users vote on those categories, right? Now that you have identified the top categories or top ideas that you want to proceed on, that's where smart automation comes into play, right? Because once you have identified these, the goal is to create tasks so that people can start working on those ideas, right? So that is where automation comes into play. And again, with a single click, these ideas are then fed into your Jira systems as tasks for individual owners to act upon, right? So it's a excellent use case of how you're taking your enterprise data, clubbing it with the capabilities that LLMs bring to the table around content generation, summarization, and automation, and providing a huge value-added capabilities in your product, right? I think I really love this use case in terms of how Atlassian has laid out the functionality in the product. Now, The other key thing that we all know is the power of AI and Gen AI is around knowledge search across different products, right? And not just search, but conversational experience to all the users within the organization, right? So that's a natural capability to offer, and of course, Atlassian has integrated this contextual search experience into all their products, right? So you will see. There's a new product they've launched, which is Rovo, which provides access to search across all your enterprise. And they also have this conversational experience within Jira Service Manager, right? For employees who are looking for any information, you can have this conversational flow and get answers to all your queries, right? And the interesting piece here is, like we talked about, it's not just the Atlassian or Jira data, they are also pulling data from other third-party systems, right? You will see here, there is actually a link to a Workday. I think the employee is asking some question about some leave policy, and it actually gives you a link to a Workday application form if you want to file your, know more about your leaves, right? So very intuitive interface. The other key thing to note here is when you're ingesting data from different third-party application, the enterprise permissions, authorizations, access to data needs to be honored, right? So I was very impressed that this was mentioned as a key principle for Atlassian, where they inherit and honor all the enterprise permissions from the data sources, right? So that as a user, even if I'm searching for something within the Atlassian experience, I only can get access to the systems or data that I have access to in those sources, be it Google Drive or SharePoint, right? I think that's very critical when we talk about enterprise applications. Now, the next step we talked about in the strategy slide is bringing it all together with AI agents, right? So that is exactly what Atlassian has launched. Is they're calling this Row agent, and these Row agent have specific goals, right? We talked about specialized in certain actions. So they have a specific goal they have defined. They have access to knowledge. I think the character piece is interesting, right? Where you can give your agent a character in terms of how it interacts or how it speaks and things like that, right? That's very cool. And access to actions to complete certain activities, right? So that's kind of the agent framework. And Atlassian has mentioned they will have hundreds of agents embedded across all their different products. And a couple of examples here is agent comms crafter, right? So this is the agent who can help you with your communications to external customers or even media communications, right? So when you're doing those communications, you need to make sure you follow the company guidelines in terms of how those communications can go out, right? So that is kind of the core functionality of this agent. But the key thing here is how seamlessly beautifully it is embedded within the product, right? You will see that in this Confluence page, the agent is just like any other collaborator on that page, right? So if I have three employees collaborating, the agent becomes the fourth collaborator, right? So it's like the virtual collaborator. And then, within Confluence, I can actually trigger the agent, the AI agent, where as a conversational window, right? So it's as simple as clicking the text saying open my comms crafter agent, and it opens a conversational window where you can interact with the agent and get responses, right? So again, it's impressive how they've taken the AI capabilities and seamlessly embedded within the product, right? And as you would imagine, the same is applicable for Jira backlogs or any Jira functionality also, right? You have these AI agents which are sitting here, which are part of your team. And I think they mentioned there is a lot of functions that these agents can do, like for instance, cleaning up your Jira backlog or doing some prioritization activity and things like that, right? So you could create specialized agents for each of those functionalities, and they could become part of your team, and they could keep doing those functions, which today honestly requires a lot of effort from a human if they have to clean up the Jira, right? Now, if you have a specialized agent that can automate it all for you, that's a huge productivity improvement. Now, The other cool thing they talked about is AI agents that can interact with other third-party systems, third-party applications, right? So here you have an example of a social media agent where if I need to create some creative social media content, I go ahead and file a ticket in Jira. There is this AI agent that is sitting as part of your social media team. And what it does is it's able to interact with, let's say, Canva and bring you the first versions of the social media content, right? And then you can iterate over it. There's always humans in the loop, so this is just the first version, and then you can iterate over it till you get the final version and get it published, right? So I think one call out here, I don't think all of this is going to be available on day one. I think this is more of directional roadmap that Atlassian has presented. But the key here is to understand the strategy of how they are going ahead with this execution, right? Like we talked about, it's about the knowledge graph, it's about seamlessly embedding capabilities into your enterprise applications, it's about automations, and finally wrapping it all up with your AI agent strategy. All right, great. I think this just wanted to put up this quote. This was by one of the CEOs. Infuse AI into every product in tailored and secure ways. Right. So I hope you found this content insightful, and do like, subscribe to the video, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.